in the pits. It looks like they're going 4 wide to 5 wide, but they're side by side. Connor is sideways, absolutely sideways at the last few corners. Oh, but he's up in the gravel and he spins. Rob has made a bit of a dive. It actually hits teammate Craig, and so they've all got stuck in the gravel. And Joe gets the switch back. That's fantastic racing. Look at that. Contact, but it's Rubbings Racing. Joe McCall takes his first ever win just ahead of Connor. A fantastic race. He's going to take 6th, or is it? Oh, he just gets him. And is Darren going to take it? No, he doesn't. Mark Nichol takes the race. Josh is the Independence champion for Season 3. Craig Kellett is your Season 3 winner and champion. Just 7 cars then entered into the Red Bull Ring round of the Renault Meganes, with both Harry and Mike Kuipers not taking part, which just leaves Rob with Craig, Tom, Kieran, Darren, Joe and Gary Black. Here's the grid then for round 6 of the Renault Meganes here at Red Bull Ring. Joe Burrows gets pole position next to Gary Black in his Season 3 livery. Row 2 is Rob Pellet next to Kieran Thomas. Row 3 is side by side Craig Kellett and Darren Parker, the 2 leaders of the championship, and on the back row of the grid is Tom Foster in his STP livery. Okay, here we go then. It's round 6 of the Renault Meganes. Joe Burrows is on the front row with Gary Black. Just 7 cars in this one, and away they go. And it's an even start for pretty much everyone. Rob makes a fairly decent start, and he actually looks like he might want to make a move on the outside of Gary here into turn 1. And he does. Oh, there's a bit of contact there with Joe, and Joe's unfortunately spun slightly off into the grass there, so that's actually put Rob into the lead. Joe goes down to the back of the grid, and Craig is up to 2nd. Kieran's just getting past Gary here, so Gary's struggling in the first few corners and is down to 4th. So as you can see, Craig and Rob side by side for the lead of this race, and Craig actually seems to be still side by side with Rob, and Rob holds that lead but is just on the edge. Oh, he's actually run wide there, and it looks like Rob is off into the gravel, so Rob is going to be, oh, was contact there with Joe, so Rob unfortunately down to the back of the grid, so that's a real shame for him. So there's a bit of a fight here. Gary's still struggling. Mid-pack now is down to 5th with Darren and Tom in front of him. Craig is leading this race. Kieran promoted up to 2nd, and Joe Burrows has managed to stay onto the back of the pack of cars here. So to say, Tom and Darren having a good tussle ahead for 3rd. Craig is leading comfortably as we go into lap 2 of 10. Well, Tom runs a little bit wide, just about comes on the track, but slightly aggressive there and slightly pushes Darren wide into nearly the pit wall. And they go side by side down into turn 1, and Darren is going to get the overtake here and up to their podium position, so he is promoted up. Tom is down to 4th, and I think, no, it's not, it's Gary and Joe who are side by side as we come up to that tight right hander. And Joe holds off. Oh, actually nearly loses it, and that's Rob who's managed to catch up here, and he just about gets to the side of Joe here and actually gets past, so Rob gets back up to 6th position. So it's a small bit of progression for Rob after spinning into the gravel, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back up at the front. So back on board with Tom then, and Darren, who just got past Tom not too long ago, is now putting Kieran under threat and under a lot of pressure here. And actually Kieran runs slightly wide, so Darren could make a go for the inside here, and not quite. So Darren holds off. Kieran running wide again, nearly on the gravel. So Kieran is on edge here, struggling to get the racing line. And Kieran is now under threat here from Darren, and Darren on the inside. And Tom is actually looking very close here as well. Well, Kieran's up in the air, and unfortunately that is just lag, but Kieran gets back down to earth as Tom and Darren slotting behind. So some close racing here for the first few laps, and plenty more to see in the next few laps, no doubt, as both Kieran and Darren make slightly wider lines into turn one onto lap 3. Gary is now under threat from Rob for 5th, and Rob is determined, no doubt, driving angry after his mistake, after losing the lead of the race to Craig. Back on board with Darren then, and we've got Kieran in front of him, so Darren needs to make another attempt and another strategy in terms of getting past Kieran for 2nd, as Kieran is defending well, not letting him past. And of course Darren will want to most definitely get up. Oh, Kieran again running wide, so Kieran loses that position. Oh, he nearly takes Tom out in the rear view mirror, so Tom just about holds on behind Kieran here, and things are bunching up towards the middle of the pack for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, and even Joe Burrows not too far behind as well. So there's a slight push. I don't know if that was a push, but Gary gets pushed down to 6th, nearly 7th, so Joe Burrows could push Gary down to the back now. But some great racing here. Rob is really on fire, getting climbing his way back up through the pack and into the lead pack of this race here. And he's got to get past Tom. Tom is putting Kieran under pressure now. Darren is making headways up to Craig for the lead of the race, onto lap 4. So far it's been a fascinating sprint race this, and definitely more proof that just 7 cars is enough for a good race, as Gary looks like he's making an attempt to get past Rob, and he does. Looks like maybe Rob was slow out of the corner, as Gary made that easy work on the straight. And Darren, I think, is a lot closer to Craig now for the lead of the race. So let's go on board as we do, and actually look at this. The speed that Darren's got on the exit of the corner is allowing him to get into the lead of the race on the outside of Craig as they go down into turn 3, which is that downhill right-hander, and everyone gets it wrong at least once or twice and spears off into the gravel. But this time everyone's through nice and clean. Darren actually has to settle for 2nd. He looked like he just got that pass done, but Craig had the inside, and Darren maybe not risking it too much. Kieran running off into the gravel again. And Kieran actually looking like he is looking a bit quicker than Darren here. Darren is just dropping off a bit away from Craig, and actually now having to defend from Kieran. And Kieran, really racy, just slightly come alive, as Tom isn't too far behind as well, so could put Darren under threat here for 2nd, and Craig is not leading comfortably. Everyone else is bunched up here to the lead of the race, so still anyone's race. We're on to lap 5, we're about the halfway point. If you look on board from Rob, you can see Gary, Tom, Kieran all in front, and even the leaders who now go into that sharp right-hander for turn 2. Oh, bit of contact, some contact there from Rob on the back of Gary. Nothing too drastic. Kieran runs really wide. Whether that was contact from Tom, we don't know just yet, but Gary up to 4th and putting Tom under threat here for 3rd. Kieran also doing the same. Gary has taken a rallycross turn. Oh, Gary's pushed Kieran off again. Can you believe it? Where is Kieran? Try to find where Kieran is. There he is. Kieran is off the circuit. So, well, after the 3rd race of the touring cars, you'd have thought Gary would have learnt, but unfortunately again pushes Kieran off into the gravel. So we'll have a look at the replay, find out what really happened. But unfortunately Gary and Kieran coming together in the same corner. Let's watch from Gary's point of view with this incident with Kieran then, and actually in fact he's got Tom in front of him with Kieran behind, and then Kieran is, so Kieran makes a move on the outside, and then unfortunately Gary just pushes him into the gravel. Let's watch it from Rob Pellet's viewpoint here. And there's Kieran on the outside, going to get the job done, and then Gary just unfortunately pushes Kieran off. So Rob and Tom now for 4th and 3rd. Could Rob get a podium after spinning off out early in the race? It wasn't a big spin, it was more a case of just running wide into the gravel, but as soon as you do, where it was so early on, Rob unfortunately was slow at the exit and was pushed all the way back down to the back. Look at this race actually between Tom and Rob, is still going on. Really good racing here. And I think that Darren now, with no one behind him to put him under pressure, is looking to see if he can get past Craig for the second time in this race. We're on to lap 6. So Craig's still holding on nicely in the lead, but without a doubt is under threat from Darren here. Tom has managed to get a little bit of air between him and Rob, and Gary goes wide into the gravel with Joe Burrows going up to 5th, sorry, and Kieran is unfortunately way back, so it's unlikely that Kieran's going to really salvage too much damage from there. Back on board with Darren then. Look at how close they are now, and I think that was a little bit of a tap from Darren telling Craig to hurry up. He's really showing his intentions here. The laps are counting down, but the threat is now even stronger from Darren, and he's got the inside line here for turn 1. I think Darren has got the job done and takes the lead of the race. He does. Just a little bit edgy there on the exit, but Darren is leading, but Craig no doubt will want to try and get past him back into the lead of the race, as Tom and Rob still fighting for that last podium position. So Craig and Darren side by side, Tom and Rob side by side, Gary and Joe are side by side. Even more great racing, and on board with Darren again as Craig gets back into the lead of the race. So Darren holds that lead for just a mere half a lap. These two have been fantastic season after season racing together. It's clean, it's fair, but it's hard. And even in the one-mate Renault Megane series. So Rob now is cleanly past Tom, and actually Tom is now under threat from Joe. So Tom must have been slow on an exit, or maybe made a mistake, and so Joe Burrows here could get 4th from Tom. So things are settled slightly, and mid-pack, but Darren again in the same piece of circuit as before. He is pushing for that lead, but this time he doesn't quite get it. Craig continues on in the lead of this race. We're on to lap 8, so 3 laps left. And if you look at this, because of this racing that's going on between these two, Rob Pellet, look at how quick he is catching them up, and he's actually nearly on the back of them. And now Rob has made this race for the lead of for the Red Bull Ring race here even more interesting. We have a fight on our hands. It's a 3-way. Rob just a little bit more to catch up, but easily could do it. Oh, Tom spins out and he's into the wall. Tom Foster, unfortunately, gets the back end in the gravel, and that's him down to 6th position. And it's not the biggest loss in the world, but he'll be annoyed for that. Let's go on board with Tom. Yeah, look, he's just gone wide and then wheel spin. Oh, that's a hard hit. Let's watch from behind Tom here in Joe Burrow's viewpoint. Look, he just catches the gravel there. And there's the contact. So back on board with Darren then. And as they cross the line, they're on to lap 9, the penultimate lap of the race. 2 laps left. Is it going to be Darren? Is it going to be Craig? Or could it be even Rob? This is a great race for the lead and for the win. And the interesting part of this is there's 3 candidates so far for the Megane title, as they've been consistently scoring well. So Darren's back up on the inside of Craig for the tight right-hander. He gets the job done. Rob is just behind Craig then. Could he take advantage of the 2 fighting here? Looks like Gary and Joe in the background fighting for 4th. Let's go aboard with Rob. Rob is pushing and pushing, but at the same time patiently waiting for the 2 to come together and just to sneak up on the inside and get at least 2nd, maybe 1st. Or does he hold off for a great podium position? We're coming round the last few corners of the penultimate lap, and we will cross the line onto lap 10, the final lap of this race. It's been a great one so far, and it's going to end hopefully in the great way we want it to, rather than in tears. But currently so far Darren is now leading. Craig has led the race for the majority of the laps round here, but Darren has made 2 very, very good passes, but Craig is just not letting Darren get away with it easily. And oh, that's a bit of a, I'd say, the dive there from Rob for the lead, but Darren continues to hold it, and he's got Craig right up behind him, and Craig is looking on the outside for the tight right-hander. Rob is there. Couldn't Rob make a dive on the inside if they are late braking? Gary and Joe still going for it. Oh, there is Rob goes for a slight push there. Oh, Rob is slow on the exit. Joe Burrows is still with Gary Black here. Craig and Darren side by side as they go down into the next corner. Oh, they managed to get round, to get together side by side. How did they do that? That was great racing. They're still side by side as they come round into the next left-hander. They're still side by side. Rob is not quite there, but could he take advantage? He still could get that lead if 1 or 2 of them make a mistake. Is Darren going to make a push for the lead and the win in the last few corners? He's on the outside, 2 turns left. Darren is on the outside, Craig is on the inside. Rob is just right behind him. But I think it's Darren who's going to get the win, and I think Rob is going to get 2nd. No, is Rob going to take the win? No, he's not. Darren gets the win. Rob is in 2nd. Craig is 3rd. Fantastic racing. Joe is 4th. Tom is going to be 5th. Gary is on another planet. There he is. So Kieran as well. Gary's in 7th. Darren gets a win then, just ahead of Rob in a fantastic race right to the end. Craig is 3rd, Joe is 4th, Tom is 5th, Kieran is 6th, and Gary is at the back. Darren takes back the lead of the championship then by 3 points, with Craig Kellett on 95. Rob Pellet is in 3rd with 86, with Tom Foster a little bit further down in 4th with 61. Joe Burrows is 5th with 53, Gary Black is 6th with 49, Kieran Thomas is only 4 points behind in 7th with Harry Cook, just 1 point behind him, but of course Harry didn't race here at Red Bull Ring.